Welcome to our third delivery, Retail Marketing, from our course series, Traditional Marketing. My name is Juan LLerena. I'm a marketing consultant and engagement and motivator speaker. I'm also an entrepreneur and WordPress expert. So today we're going to be talking about retail marketing, and we're going to see some of the concepts and how they're being applied from the retail marketing perspective, from the traditional marketing perspective, applied to the online marketing, and how they're different or how they can be transferred from one to the other one. Okay, and we can start by saying that retail marketing exists since there have been any businesses and stores. The techniques and strategies that are being used in every retail business are to optimize sales, okay, to get the most amount of sales that we can from our customers or potential customers. Today, we will see how we can apply certain marketing techniques to the online world, such called e-commerce. But we will start by reading this quick definition, and we're going to comment a little bit on it. So the definition for retail marketing is the sale of goods and services from businesses to an end user, called a customer. Retail marketing is the process by which retailers promote awareness and interest of their goods and services in an effort to generate sales from the customers. Okay, so this is a definition back from September 9, 2013. Okay, it hasn't changed much. It is still applied on today's digital world, and basically it's to promote awareness and interest, okay, of their goods and services in an effort to generate sales from their customers. Okay, so it's to create and spark this interest for the consumers to acquire a product or service by different ways. Okay, so we'll see how this can be applied. And here we have a picture of a retail store, a conventional clothing store, and we're going to talk about a few different concepts here that you're probably already familiar with. So the first one is merchandising sets and the planograms. So the planograms and the merchandising sets are how the products are organized within the store, and you can actually see it on different retail businesses, how, for instance, in these clothing stores, all the men's is located in one side, and the women's clothing, and the kids areas are, in specific areas across the store, and maybe sometimes in different floors. The planograms are actually telling the retail merchandiser, the person that is actually allocating the product and the different shelves and the different displays throughout the store, and how it needs to be done. Okay, products are located at eye level in many cases. We have like different areas within the shelf, which is the lower areas of the shelf, kind of towards the bottom, and then we have the eye level, which is usually like an eye level location. Usually is where the customers tend to see first and to look first when they are looking at a display. And then we also have the the higher part of the shelf, and each different space, it has a different purpose. There's definitely prime spaces within the shelf. The same applies. The same concept applies at a retail grocery store, where you might probably see that the higher margin items, sometimes the national brands, are located on the eye level sections, and that's just because customers tend to see there first. They tend to look at those areas first and maybe make a quick decision purchase right away from those areas, and they tend, businesses know this, and they try to maximize the profitability of their spacing within the sets, and they try to allocate these products in this higher volume sales areas. Then we also have walking path. So when you walk into a store, well, you can go left or you can go right. People typically tend to go right in many cases. There's studies about shopping carts where the wheels on the right hand side tend to be a little bit smaller, a tiny bit smaller than the left side, the left side, just so the cart tilts a little bit to the right, and it kind of makes shoppers go in a particular direction. We're in the store, and the stores are designed and they're merchandised to have customers going in a certain direction throughout the store, and the displays are allocated and placed strategically within the store in different areas to generate the most amount of sales that they can generate. And usually the items with a higher margin, or the ones that they have contracts with the vendors, they will be located on the prime spaces within the store, the ones that they are making either the most amount of money, or the ones that they have the best sales, but at the same time they're getting a bigger margin. Or sometimes it can be a lower margin item, but it's going to rotate a lot, so they're going to have a lot of sales on those areas. The signage is also another important concept for the retail marketing. It's been said that users usually have like a 2-second or 3-second amount of time when they're walking in front of a display, and if they don't know exactly what it is, or if they don't know exactly how much they're paying, or they don't get all the information they need to make an informed decision, then they're just gonna walk by. They're not gonna grab the item. They're not gonna purchase it. It all depends on the product. It depends on the item. It depends on the type of business. If we're talking from a high-end clothing store versus like a pharmacy, or if we're talking about a grocery store or another retail business, but the location and the placement of the product is very, very important, and it does create a difference on the end result of the business for their bottom line. There's also suggestive selling, and this can be cross-merchandising products that go well one with another. So like in this case, in this example, we're actually seeing a mannequin there that it has the jeans that match well with a shirt and a particular tie. So they're suggesting that if you like the pants, then you can probably also buy the shirt and the tie. And and this is all generating suggestive selling, trying to sell you 3 items instead of just one, the one that you went to look for in the first place. Retail, there's a saying that it says retail is detail. So the displays usually have to be taken care of well. Again, it depends on the store format. It depends on what is the concept for that store. If it's a low cost, low price store, probably the displays aren't going to be as pretty. They're just going to be effective, or they're just going to drop full pallets with product, and people just take from there. And some other stores, they're designed to service the customer more, having displays that they look pretty, that they tie well with some other items, and they spend more time building these displays as they go and filling them. Instead of just throwing the product, they're all organized and sorted and looking really nice. And usually the retail, and how items are located and positioned, are looking to have higher profit items in certain areas of the store. And there's all a lot of work that it goes behind the scenes, and there's like a lot of reasons why things are where they're at. They just don't happen just because actually there's usually some reasoning behind everything we see in the store that many times we don't even notice as shoppers. And the stores, they also have end caps, and those are the ends of the aisles that they usually have either bulk items or special sets, or specific items that might be more like a high impulse items. We also have the impulse buys, and we'll see more about that. But those are concepts that, like an impulse buy is one of those purchases that you're not planning on doing, but all of a sudden you see the item, you think you need it, and you probably do need it, but maybe you don't, but you still end up buying it. It's unplanned purchases that you make right on the spot. Okay, the visitors flow data, it's represented by the walking path. Basically, it is how do you want people to walk your store? How do you want people to walk your business? Do you want them to go left, or do you want them to go right? There's many ways that this is being done, analyzing this flow data in the stores, by having either cameras that are actually looking at what shoppers are doing and which ways they're walking the store, where they're stopping to look at product, what things they're grabbing, or what things they're just walking by without even looking. Sometimes you might have just people that are in the store and they're counting traffic, the most visited aisles in the store, the higher traffic aisles, the higher traffic areas, and this is all valuable information for the businesses for management to make informed decisions and try to maximize sales as they go. Now online, how does it happen? Well, we have the heat maps, and the heat maps are a representation of, when people are visiting a specific website, people tend to either click on the menus or hover their mouse over a particular banner or a particular call to action, or maybe the pictures or maybe the video, depending on what it is and depending on how the website is designed. So we're going to take a deeper look into that. But we also have analytics, and online analytics is organized information, is organized data that is presented in a way that we can actually see and track how many clicks there have been in our website and what has been clicked, what buttons have been clicked. We can learn bounce rate, which is, without getting into too technical, basically is how many visitors land into our website and they just leave without doing anything, without clicking in any other pages or without going any deeper into our website. So those are just bounce rates. They get there, they don't find what they're looking for, they don't get interested, and then they just exit. And all the work that we have been doing to try to create this excitement and to bring people in is just gone. We need to optimize that. With analytics, we can also learn what are the most visited pages. We can learn, the visitors flow data. Basically, we can see from the landing page or the page that the customer, our online visitors land into our website. We can see and learn with analytics for free. We can see where did they go next and where did they go next. We can see how deep they go and what are the exiting pages. And this is like gold information as well, because if we have information and we know that there's a specific page that a lot of customers are getting, let's say our comments page, okay, or our contact us page, we see that a lot of the traffic is getting to our contact us page, but then customers aren't really filling it out, and maybe it's too complicated. Maybe for some reason they just don't seem to get compelled to give you the information you're requesting on that context page, but maybe they want to tell us about a problem they're experiencing, or maybe they have a specific question they haven't been able to figure out on the website. Then this might allow us to act on it and improve that page. Maybe we need to create a contact form that is easier to work with and to deal with. Okay, so analytics will give us a way to learn about our visitors flow data, and this can be definitely done online with digital marketing and analytics. And here we can see a picture of the heat maps. We can see here, for example, with different colors, what are the most clicked areas on a particular website. We can see the images, we can see the two buttons that it says start for free, or the bottom on the left, or the top menu as these are call to actions on the sign up for free towards the right on the right upper corner. So we can, if we know what are the areas that our website are being the most clicked, the most visited, and they're triggering more action to our customers, then maybe we can improve. Maybe we can find out that what we think is creating more, generating more sales for us that people are using. Maybe it can be a completely eye-opener, and all of a sudden we can learn that this button isn't really being used. People aren't getting there for some reason, and then we can learn from it and act on it. Also, Google Analytics, which is the most used analytics tool, and it's for free. Anybody can have it. All you have to do is just register with Google Analytics for free with your Gmail, and then just add a little snippet, a little piece of code into your website. With WordPress, it's really simple, but you can do it in other platforms as well. And then Google takes care of reading everything, and then you can go to Google Analytics and start looking at the analytics from your website and statistics about your page. And you can learn things as like, okay, where are people coming from my site? Like for instance, in the second picture, on the second graphic there, we have how many sessions by city, and we can see, oh, okay, there's like over 7,000 from Moscow. The second one is like over 7,000 in second place from New York. The third one is Los Angeles, 5,000 plus. Washington on the third place. Chicago in the fourth place, and Chicago on the fifth place, and the list goes on. So if you know where your customers are coming from, well, that might allow you to do something with this data. You can learn, for instance, if your customers are using a Windows platform, are they using a Macintosh? Are they using a Linux? Are they using Google Chrome operating system? So like if you know where they're coming from, if the majority is coming from, from a Google Chrome operative system platform, maybe you can optimize your website for it. Maybe there's a reason for that. And same as your browser usage, what are the users, customers, visitors actually using to browse your website. And you have to make sure that your website is being viewed correctly and that it renders in a good way on any of the websites that are being used to actually browse your site. So it can be Chrome, or it can be Firefox, or Safari, or Internet Explorer. So these are tools that actually allow you to make sure that people that get to you and to your website can actually see it, and they can actually navigate it without any major complications, because customers won't be patient as you wish they would. And then you can learn more information such as demographics and maybe any other things that we're actually learning later on the online marketing course that we have also prepared for you. So that will be another one to watch for. Shelf placement. We talked a little bit about this, and for marketing and advertising, we see this happening all the time, where the big brands are usually fighting for space. A lot of them, they do have a specific contracts with retailers to have a specific areas, and this depends on how big the company is. But you're gonna see that certain products, like say Coca-Cola or Pepsi, they own certain areas of the stores. Usually they pay additional money so they can be in specific areas of the store, and they're guaranteed a specific space on specific, what they're called like eye level areas or golden zone areas. On this, we can also say that visual equity is more important than memory equity, because the products must be in the consumer's face, literally. So if somebody sees it, it's the first thing they see, and they are associated with your brand, and there's a branding work that is already in process from these organizations constantly, because they have big budgets and everything. Then they have an advantage over their competition. And as we can see here in the picture, the shelf placement is important, as we can see that the top areas create out 20% more as far as the number of people that sees you and your brand, and the probability of you being chosen increases for sure. And the golden zone, it could be what I call the eye level zones, that are related to the number of facings, and this is how many items there will be side by side of the same product, how wide it's gonna be. And the more number of facings that you get, there's some better chances of increase. And there's some neuromarketing that it's in place as well. There's like different theories that have been studied as far as how we know why consumers grab some items, and why they look at where they look and how they react to certain things. So if you're interested about a class, or a specific class that we can prepare for neuromarketing, also please let me know, and you know how to reach me on my website via the contact form. For this eye level zone or golden zone area, also the chances of being bought also increase by 28%. Okay, so I mean, look at that, 28%, that can really make a difference. And chances of low market share brands, it says 67%. Okay, so there are different strategies to claim space. Some are by multiple packaging, and that's called the billboard effect, or the maximizing types of beers to sell. So like many companies, they have like different beers. They all are owned for the same company. In many cases, it could be the same, the almost the exact type of beer and all that. And the only thing that is changed is the packaging. And the packaging has to do so much on how much you can really attract customers based on their demographics and their interest and their likes and dislikes. But at the same time, it can also give you more power to even charge more for the same type of product. So it's a really, really passionate and interesting topic to cover, this retail. Now, we're going to talk a little bit of the scroll. And if we look at this screen here, we're talking about the 80-20 rule, where the 80% is the space that people can actually see when they load a website on a regular browser, and the 20% is what they don't see. So there are chances that when you have information placed or buttons or anything placed on your website on the 80% area, which is the top area, customers will actually see. They'll get 80% or almost 100% of the attention when they get to your site. So you should probably know by now that your calls to action, which are the buttons that people will click to subscribe, to purchase, to learn more, to register, to call, or anything else, your call to action should be placed on this 80% of the space. So that will be the first portion of the screen they will see if they connect from their desktop or their laptop. Now, the more visitors have to scroll, but the less their attention span for your site, or the less sales if you have an e-commerce. So if you have your e-commerce and you have your call to action buttons on the 20%, well, the less chances are that your customers will actually, or your potential customers, your visitors on your website will actually be more, less likely to actually click on that 20% of the screen. So you need to maximize that, and that might be a good homework for you at the end of the class to see where things are being placed. Discounts in retail, what we know is that deep discounts are one of the most effective ways to trigger sales, and possibly after the buy one get one sales, or the free sales when they buy two, they get one free, and things like that, or buy one get half off on the second item and so forth, but they have to pay full price for the first item, or and usually is the higher price item. And the marketing campaigns are usually using a lot of these discount techniques. Deep discount techniques are very, very popular because they attract a lot of massive marketing, and a lot of consumers. They come in and try to take advantage of those sales. Should you use it? Well, it all depends. If you have higher price items or higher margin items, I should say, yes, you can, if it's not going to hurt your business. Sometimes you might just sacrifice some items to bring customers and more visitors, more traffic to your store. But in turn, you expect that your merchandising and everything else, how it's positioned within the store, that it will help you capture sales and get them to upgrade to other items, or to pair them with higher margin items for you. So if you can afford to do discounts, you should use this, not all the time, but every once in a while. Now, I don't recommend for companies to start and get into these pricing wars, just being a low discounted or discounted retailers, unless they can afford it, because if you get into that battle, it's very hard to get out, because people associate your brand with low prices and sometimes low quality, and there's a market for everything and for everybody. But in order for you to change that, if you ever want to get out of that space, is very, very difficult. And we can see it nowadays with, let's say, Aldi's. It's a very low margin business, where they're designed to, according to the studies that I've seen, between make their goal is about 10 to 15% gross margin, and to survive with that. But in order to do that, then they try to save every penny where they can, with having very, very few employees, and somewhat that sacrifices the customer experience. Now Aldi's does a really good job at certain items, like their organics, for instance, and their produce, which is like super low prices, but at the same time, if the item is gone and you get there and they don't have it, well, you're out of luck. So and they have been trying, and they have been making an effort to change that image, but it still is difficult, because if at some point they want to change that into a different store format, with all this, just like it is right now, it's in my opinion, it's going to be very difficult, because people associate their brand already to low prices. It's kind of the same as in the opposite. Like if you are a high-end store, and then you're trying to go, have the bottom rock bottom prices, and lower your margins, you are probably going to be the cheapest one around, but customers won't give you the credit for it because the perception for them is that you are actually, like an upscale store, a higher price store. They're not going to give you credit for reducing your pricing as much. And do you even win? Do you even want to get into that space? So you have to really think. Now, as far as on the online world, how do you do these discounts? Well, there are many ways to do it. Okay, and one of these ways is comparing items or comparing prices. What I recommend is to keep an eye on the best, and one of the best is Amazon. They're leading on this, making all these studies and spending on tons of money in technology and research, and looking at how customers are thinking, and they're learning all the time, and they're improving, and they're just staying on top of the on top of technology and everything. So I think we need to watch for what they're doing in order to learn from the best. And this is one of the things that Amazon does really well. They show you a list price, which is true, and if they have a really good price that shows you a discount and even free shipping, they give it to you. But not only that, in addition to that, they will show you what your saving is, so you don't have to calculate or just get a bulk figure. You actually know exactly how much you're saving. In this case, a $14.99 item, you could buy it for $3.09. You get no shipping, you get free shipping, but no charge on the shipping. I'm sorry about that. But you're saving $11.90. So that's a 79% savings, and that's ridiculous. It's an amazing saving. Now, they don't let you imagine that. They tell you. So they're combining this psychological effect of showing you a dollar amount and also the percentage. Okay, so you get both pieces of information really quick. During the first 2-3 seconds, you will be looking, okay, how much does this cost and how much will I save? Okay, so that has a big psychological factor, and that's why many stores are right now doing a buy one, get a 50% off on the second item, and then you'll see that the signs are like 50% bigger. You can actually see, everything's half price, but when you get closer, you see buy one and get 50% off the second item. So for this reason, online, you can do the same thing. You can use price comparison table. You can use, feature comparison tables as well. You can use, showing savings on an item from the regular price with a big scratch off. And there are many tools that you can do this online as well. If you happen to use WordPress to do this, there's different plugins that will allow you to manage your items and to manage your e-commerce portion of your website. And this is actually very, very simple to do. So this is another thing you can do with online shopping and with your online marketing is to create a test A/B online. So all of a sudden, some items, half the amount of your customers, let's say you have 100 customers that visit you a day on your e-commerce site, 50 will see one screen, and then the other 50 will see a different screen. They will probably have the same information, or but presented in different ways. And then you can learn with the Google Analytics which one was more successful. So if like out of those 50 from the group A, let's say 10% actually completed the purchase and generated a sale, then you know that 10 out of 50, that will be 20%. You were successful with 20% of your sales in a day. If you do, you analyze your group B, and out of those, say 50 customers, only 5 purchased from you, then you know that you had only a rate of success on that B group only 10%. Okay, so then you can say, okay, well, if I present information this way, I get 20% return more sales than this if I present it under group B. So you can do things like this which are impossible to do. You can't have 2 different setups on the same store. You're gonna confuse people if they come into your retail store. And A/B tests are just perfect for online shopping and for e-commerce. We also recommend that we're showing we're creating a sense of urgency where with limited time offers, okay, and you have a sale that is just happening for 24 hours, or it just it's within the next 6 hours. Anybody that purchases, then it creates a necessity for somebody. Now you need to stick to your guns, and if you don't if you go past those 6 hours, and then the promotion has to end, because if you create this environment where you don't follow through, and all of a sudden you promise that it's only a once a year event, and then you do it like in the next month and your customers figure it out, then they're not going to act and they're not going to react on this type of offers. So but this also works really well. And the same with the quantities. You can actually offer additional sales or special sales to like first time visitors, customers that register. You can probably offer additional sales if they sign up to your newsletter. You can offer, free shipping with minimum dollar amount that is being placed in an order, and things like that. Or, and offers that can be only shown to specific customers or to your best customers only. So you can play with urgency and quantities, which you can do online on retail sales and the mortar and brick and mortar stores. Because you can't just say, oh no, I'm sorry, this offer is not for you, it's for him. You can't do that, well, unless you use like the rewards cards. But in many cases, you can customize it as much as you could with online marketing, on your e-commerce sites. So this is a really great tool. It's one of those wonderful things that we can do on the digital world, and they can work really well for you. Now, this I'm showing you here some end caps from a retail store, a grocery store, and what we see that they're placing all the gums and the candy and the single serve chocolates and things like that. In many cases, sometimes they have like vitamins, or they have like these 5-hour energy drinks and things like that. They're like very high impulse items, and they work well because they're like a high gross profit margin item. The stores are making good money on it. They're not reducing the price, and they're your very last opportunity to grab something before you go. So like if you don't want to go back to the aisle, you don't want to walk all the way back to that specific aisle where the candy is, well, and you figure out that you might want to grab a little piece of candy that you either need it or want it, or whatever the case was, then you're probably more than likely to make an extra purchase there. And and the retailers are making nice money just from those impulse buys. Now, retailer shows you the items that will make them money. Okay, so you kind of have to watch for that if you're like in a customer shopping mode. How can you do this with online marketing? Well, you can do suggestive sales. Maybe you will be interested, if you buy an item, or you're looking at an item before you add it, or you just add it, then it will tell you. And Amazon is a great example of that too. Customer who bought this, I also bought that, or also when they're doing the cross merchandising. So for instance, if you buy a camera, well, you might be interested also in to buy the the memory stick and the carry-on case and the tripod, and things like that. So if you're buying the TV, you might want to buy the projector and the DVD player. If you're buying a movie, okay, if you're buying Back to the Future 1, well, you might probably want to buy number 2 and number 3. Or if you're buying like a horror, like I don't know, Saw, all the season, well, maybe they will figure out that you like horror movies, and they'll probably be offering you another movie on the same category. I don't know, Jeepers Creepers, or I don't know, Halloween. So you can do this online based on what the customer is purchasing. You can't not do it on retail sales on the sales floor, because you're limited to what's already out there. So you can really personalize this. So e-commerce, it's gotten so well and so good, and the way we manage our customer relationships with our customers, and sorry for the redundancy there, and with our clients, then we can really maximize the opportunity and the possibility to create an extra sale and to sell more and to increase our revenue. So this is, online marketing is just even better than retail in this sense. And now you see how this retail marketing can also be applied to online marketing. It is important for us to understand that these concepts and practices will really allow us to leverage this knowledge using tools that will give us an unfair advantage. And I like to talk about the unfair advantage because the information is so much there, and the analytics and the insights are already there. What we need to do is we need to learn to use it to our benefit to create this unfair advantage. And it is unfair because not everybody is willing to go the extra mile and to work a little harder to learn to use the reports and to figure out ways to take advantage of this information to create your content and place your buttons and use your colors and your fonts and the images and all the wording that you're using on your website to sell product in a better way that it generates more return to you. So that's why it's important to pay attention to these retail marketing techniques and how they can be applied online. All right, so that finalizes our third class of this traditional marketing series. Okay, so we only got 7 more to go, but we're getting there, and I really hope that you are really taking full advantage of this and really enjoying it. What I can tell you too is that we appreciate your feedback and your input. You know how to reach me. If you have a comment or a question, don't hesitate to contact me. I really recommend people to go to my website, jlbmedia.com, and use the contact form that is provided there. So that gives you higher priority on my list, as I always try to maximize my time and be able to do that. All right, so my name is Juan LLerena. I'm a marketing consultant. I really hope that you enjoyed this lesson, and see you in the next class.